Our scope is out of reach and it's too early for us to understand. The strong winds sting our eyes. We cannot yet make it to paradise. The decision lies in your hands. If it's to forge ahead or hide, the sun will pay you no mind. Nowadays, people don't like the word privilege so much. It's become controversial and associated with guilt. First thing that comes to mind also is the have-it-all heterosexual white male, when actually every human is privileged. Some of us more than others for sure, but we have simply become too short-sighted to see it. Human supremacy is established on this planet. We are at the top of the food chain, and we use everything that is non-human to our benefit. A research has discovered that the specific genes that adjust brain progress and function evolved far more rapidly in humans than in non-human primates and other mammals, hinting that humans are a privileged evolutionary lineage, suggesting that natural selection has favored complex cognitive abilities to be in humans. Or God did, depends on what you believe in, but there can be only one truth standing at the end. From a genetic point of view, human evolution might be a recapitulation of the typical molecular evolutionary process. To make that more comprehensible, the genetic process that led elephants to have huge tusks is the same process that led humans to have a larger brain function. It's an exaggerated feature in both creatures, but one is obviously superior than the other. The human brain is exceptionally larger and more complex than the brains of non-human primates, including the closest relative, the chimpanzee. In the cosmic order, humans are apparently significant when it comes to building complex chemical compounds that are self-replicating. The carbon atom is unparalleled. All carbon-based life originated in water. For highly active organisms like ourselves, oxygen is the only atom that can supply energy to carbon-based life. The growing evidence from physics, chemistry, and biology highlights the uniqueness of the human species, not just on Earth but the entire universe, and that natural selection designed us for no other reason than to flourish. Or maybe God did. It depends on what you... Oh wait, I already did that. The second thing to be grateful for after this is that there are many of us. Aside from glucose, brains literally nourish on relationships. Social neuroscientists found that friends and partners keep us healthy, and that we're hardwired to be physically close to people in our community in 3 specific ways. Sharing danger, a sense of community to share meaning and distribute risk. Sharing the load, significant others, friendships, joint projects, shared finances, whatever you call it. When we share the load, pain decreases and life feels easier. Emotional co-regulation. By coexisting, we help adjust to each other. That's why those of us who don't share can be supported by others, and their resources will deplete before they even know it. According to neuroscience, humans perceive the world in 2 ways, using the left hemisphere that works with language and sees people as useful tools, and the right hemisphere experiences human as infinite souls. You could say one is instrumental, and the other is relational. If the relational brain starves, emotional chaos will arise. For example, this happens when parents raise their child without warmth and to be instrumental. That kid is gonna grow up to be the kind of person that cares only about money and drinks every time he faces a problem, instead of, expressing his feelings. The left hemisphere is all about hierarchies and who's on top of whom, who is the most powerful, who has the most status, who is best looking. In contrast, the right hemisphere sees groups as circular. They consist of many different, amazing, and infinite beings that are coming together. The deeply committed to some purpose kind of guys. Everyone matters. Everyone can contribute, for has been structured by warmth and clear understanding, non-violence and inclusion and creating belonging. You know the thing about belonging. It's good, but it creates in-groups, out-groups, and eventually division. It's a light that casts a big shadow that is social exclusion, and how awful it is. Yeah, our life is full of little concessions like that. Brain literacy helps us to understand that everyone's brain has racial self-identity networks. When you look at someone from Asia, you first identify him as Asian, but the fact that he is Asian is not important. This is where the instrumental hemisphere plays a role in keeping this stability. We need perfect function of both hemispheres for a balanced life. This is like the broad and more general sense in which humans should be grateful, strictly as a species, to their given privilege by the universe, or God. Depends on. Let's move on to where we should be grateful as individuals experiencing life. But you actually have to practice gratitude in order to be grateful. Gratitude lifts our eyes off the things we lack, so we might see the blessings we possess. There are no shortage of things to be grateful for. Hell, I can give you a few right at the top of my head. When you see someone in your street and your response isn't immediate fear. Prisons, thank God for those. Locks too. The sun, forks, cats, the internet, comedy, mustaches. how babies are made. Joking aside, life itself is something to be grateful for. The fact that you're still breathing and your heart is still beating, no matter how badly bruised, is one of the greatest blessings we can ever receive. However, some people actually end their own lives with their own hands. In Dante's journey across hell with his companion Virgil, they find themselves in a dark wood, clear of all greenery. Virgil was a seasoned hell traveler and warned Dante of what they were about to witness. Noticing that Dante can hear screaming but cannot tell where the sounds are coming from, he tells him to tear a twig from one of those thorny bushes. The moment Dante removes the twig, blood pours from the tree, and a pained, hissing voice cries, "Why do you break me? Why do you tear me?" The voice belongs to Pierre de Lavigne, Chancellor to Frederick II, the Holy Roman Emperor. Virgil asks Pierre to tell his story so that Dante can revive his fame up in the living world. Pierre's story is as tragic as the moment in which he loses one of his twigs. He was extremely loyal to Frederick and was later accused of stealing from him. Not long after his imprisonment, Pierre killed himself. This ring in which Dante finds himself is the realm of the suicides, who, ungrateful for their bodies on earth, are deprived of flesh in hell. When Pierre finally stops talking, in a moment of despair he asks to have his leaves gathered at his feet. This request is so lamentably deserving of pity that we cannot help but ask why. Is it to be more careful with his remains than he was with his body on earth, now that it's too late, or to grab hold of the little he has, as meaningless as it is, left with nothing but the keenest of regrets for the rest of eternity? One thing you don't know about suicidal people is that they actually don't want to die. They just want the pain to stop and they see no other alternative. So how can you bring someone back from the verge of destruction? The moral standard is to try at least. But it's like mentioned at the beginning, if it's to forge ahead or hide, the sun will pay you no mind. If you won't fight for yourself and choose to die, no one else is going to. No human is immune to these two things. He is either bestowed upon by a blessing or a lesson, and how you take it defines who you are. Forget about Thanksgiving. We have to create quiet moments of reflection in our lives that remind us of how truly blessed we are. Friendship, good health, and a sound mind. Our burdensome obligations to responsibilities can cause us to be distracted and fall into a slump. The easiest way to pick yourself up is to be a blessing yourself. A few words of kindness to others have the power to wash off the blackest of stains residing in our hearts when you are in the deepest pits of worldly hell. Sit down and count your blessings. Trust me, you will lose count and forget all about it. Being blessed is a condition of the heart and a frame of mind.